So I've stopped in a park in Doncaster. So I used to call Doncaster, much to the enjoyment of many people in Sheffield. So I'm doing a lovely doing Class Up Magic at the Doncaster Deaf Trust tonight. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But it's funny. I was thinking a lot about. I was talking to someone the other day. Actually, I went on a bike ride and it ended up getting rained off, and I was stuck in a pub that wasn't actually open, and some people let me in. And then we ended up having quite a lovely, deep conversation in there. And one of the subjects that came up, something at 10 o'clock in the morning, came up was this idea of the difference really between happiness and pleasure. And it's something that I've been really interested in a lot, because I think that being happy is something that I've always been interested in reading about. So one of my favourite books is a book called Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, or Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, depending on where you stand on that. But it's a very famous book, and it's basically the science of happiness, and it's what makes people happy. And it's always fascinated me, because I found myself unhappy at certain times when I think I should be happy, and happy at certain times when I feel like, hang on, why am I happy? And I think one of the big learnings for me, and which I can't even remember where I read it. I think I read it in Flow actually, but I'm not sure. Was this idea of the difference between happiness and pleasure? And I think it's a really important distinction, and I think it can answer a lot of questions. So first of all, to me, and it's fairly subjective, I think, in a way that it's very individual for the person. But for me, the pleasure is that quick fix, okay? It's that quick fix. So the classic way of thinking about it is a drug, or drinking and stuff like that, or just or going on a roller coaster. And all those things that are just quick fix, instant, they don't take a lot of work, there's no real challenge, but they make you feel good, okay? Food is a great one. Stuffing down a bit of cheesecake for me is absolute pleasure. Krispy Kreme donuts, all that sort of stuff. And happiness is that kind of more long-term feeling of contentment. It's that thing that you just feel that the world is a good place, that you are a good person, you're settled, you're happy. And it's more just that feeling of, yeah, everything's all right, this is all good. And it's a deeper feeling. And I was on a bike ride this morning, and I've only just been thinking about this in the car on the way to Doncaster, and just thinking it sums up the difference for me. So on the bike ride, there's a lovely bike ride with my friend Chris from Man's Fishmongeries. Oh no, it's not called a Fishmongeries, it's called a Fishmongeries. So, and we go the strides. Now I'm feeling a bit unfit on my bike at the moment. I've only been out a couple of times in the last sort of 8 days. I've been kind of busy, I've been running, and I just don't feel like I'm really at a fit place. I'm saying that compared to a few months ago, but just getting out of breath a lot. I'm feeling a bit breathless, maybe a bit of alcohol involved and all that. Not that I got pissed on the bike ride, I'm saying, because it's sort of my birthday week. Yeah, I have a birthday week pretty much these days. At the moment, it's actually my birthday on Thursday. 44 years old. 20th of July. So we're going out, and we do a fairly challenging ride. So if for those of you around this area, it's the Strines, there's a lot of climbs. It was hard work, and a lot of that ride, and it was hot. I mean, you can see it's a hot day, man. And a lot of those climbs were not in any way pleasurable. And there was a lot of climbs, so it was a fair percentage of that ride wasn't pleasurable. A fair percentage of that ride was fucking brilliant. I mean, there's just the most beautiful downhills, fast roads and sort of medium roads. The view is amazing, so there's a lot of pleasure there as well. And both of those things wouldn't really be, like if I go for a ride and it's all flat, and don't get me wrong, I would do that as a pleasure, as a sort of rambly thing with someone else and go for a flat ride, that'd be great. But for actually going out for a bike ride and it's all flat, same as a run, I just get bored. I just don't, there's not the challenge for me. And if you look back to the Flow, which is about that feeling of being so in the moment that you don't know what time it is, you don't know what's going on, you're literally so focused on that one thing. That's that feeling of flow, it's in the zone. Okay, so when you look at that, part of the criteria of that is for there to be a bit of challenge. Okay, the other thing is it doesn't have to be enjoyable. So that's another weird paradox. You can actually be in flow, you can be so focused, you can be in the moment, you can be in the zone, and you don't actually need to be enjoying yourself. The classic thing is at work, if you're really busy and you're quite stressed, all of a sudden you realise 3 hours have gone past. So there's all that, and that's maybe a different conversation. But so I'm going up these hills. It's horrible, and the downhills are amazing. Okay, pleasure. is there, pain is there, challenge is there. And the feeling after the whole thing, and still now, hours later, is a feeling of deep contentment. And it's because it's the mix of everything. There's been the hard work, okay, no trauma, I'm not about trauma and panic and all that sort of stuff, just hard work and challenge, and there's been the pleasure and all that sort of stuff. And the whole thing gives me a feeling of, when I get to the top of the hill, it's the feeling of achievement, which is very intoxicating. And that whole thing comes together and gives me a feeling of happiness. And it's not just about exercise at all. It's nothing to do with endorphins. It's something deeper. It's play, and it's engaging in play, engaging in challenge, and engaging in flow, being in a flow activity. And the reason I'm talking about this is that I think sometimes we can beat ourselves up for not being happy. We look around us and we think, I've got it really easy. I've got it easy. Everything's cool. I haven't had a hard upbringing. There's no reason for me ever to be unhappy. When actually, what we know because of these books and these studies is that unhappiness can be caused by a lack of challenge. It can be caused by too much comfort. And that's a really interesting thing to know, because sometimes when you're looking around, you go, oh, my life's really easy. Why am I feeling upset? Or why am I feeling... That's usually the reason why. And of course it can go the other way, and I'm not saying we need trauma in our lives, but we do need a bit of challenge. So, and when I check myself with this, I go, actually, have I done anything recently that's been challenging, that's got me into a flow state, that's been that real feeling of joy? And sometimes it won't be. I haven't had it. I've been sort of pottering along, I've been sitting learning stuff out of books, and I haven't really been challenging myself. So what I'd say is, if you are in that situation of discontent, it's really worth looking at, have you got those flow activities in your life? Are you doing the things that are challenging you? Because if we've been enjoying, it's like with Close Up Magic, I love doing Close Up Magic, but if I get like 7 gigs in a row, it's not that much of a challenge, so I have to put new tricks in to challenge me. I have to do something that's difficult because it just becomes too easy. And that's just because I've been doing it for so long. So yeah, so that's just something to think about, and I think it's a really interesting conversation. I'd love your comments on it, and I think it's a conversation that's the start of something. I don't think that's very quick. You say quick, Steve, you've been banging on for 7.5 minutes. But yeah, comments would be great, and I'd like to extend this on the next one or the next few blogs if you've got anything you'd like me to talk about, or like my opinion on. Not that it would be right, but it's always nice to have a little bit of banter back and forth, isn't it? So thank you for watching. I'm going to do magic tricks now, and have a great night.